Oh, hi there. Today I wanted to make a video about the legalization of marijuana in Canada. I do not smoke marijuana. Um, Obviously, living in Canada, you're gonna run into people throughout the course of your life that do smoke marijuana. That's their choice, that's their thing, and I'm not one to judge. Um, However, there are some points that I feel as though need to be mentioned. And actually, before we get into that, uh, it is ironic, I suppose, that I'm wearing a green shirt. I mean, the very first Google search I did, the Globe and Mail was saying the green rush. Well, I just want to say that, it's just a coincidence that I'm wearing this shirt. And um, also marijuana enthusiasts and things like that, they don't own the color, okay? Green, there's a lot of things that are green. I like broccoli. Broccoli is green, for example. They don't own the color. That's what it is. The Hulk is green. Anyway, um, there's a few things. One, there are people who are cancer patients who feel as though that it's benefited them. And if it has, then that's a good thing. There is a notion that it helps prevent cancer, but a lot of things help prevent cancer. I mean, like if you don't shove a big greasy burger in your face every day, that helps prevent cancer. If you eat things like blueberries, that helps prevent cancer. I heard that it was just like one tiny little aspect of marijuana that helped prevent cancer. But the thing is, anyone can get cancer, and the thing is, you could eat blueberries, for example, every single day, and you could still get cancer. That's just the way it works. Sometimes it can full blown hit you. Um, and marijuana, honestly, I don't think is very high on the stopping cancer aspect. I don't think it's very good at that. That's the tiniest part of it. With cancer patients, I think it's more taking away the painkillers, the opioids and things like that away from them, which is good because that's bad for their health. Their body gives up essentially after that, and then they deteriorate much faster, which is bad. Um, and marijuana is useful in the sense that it changes the mood and the thought process of somebody who's in pain. I would think anyway. That's what I've been reading. Um, so it's not so much that it gets rid of the pain, it's just the chemical balances and the psychology of it. It gets the person thinking in a different direction as opposed to being self-obsessed with their pain. Um, Still, you know, there are other medications that doctors prescribe that also can do that. Um, I'm not for the legalization of marijuana. Well, I'm not gonna say I'm not for it, but there are some questions that need to be brought up, obviously. Um, Number one, the main driving force for Justin Trudeau's government and this wonderful gift that they're just bestowing upon Canadians is that it's not a gift. Justin Trudeau is doing this because it's a cash cow, and there are already signs that there's like an ideological belief about marijuana that's a lot of it's not true. Um, like there's been a virulent campaign for marijuana on the internet uh, for many years now, and they make all kinds of examples where they're saying, "Oh, it's better this way," and blah blah blah. Trying to think of some examples here. One of the most common ones actually is when they're comparing marijuana to anything else. They'll be like, "Oh, marijuana has never been responsible for a person dying," and that's the most common, meme propaganda piece I've seen. And, there's no truth to that at all. But it's always on there. It's always on the computer. Like you join any Facebook group that isn't specifically orientated towards a subject like hockey or whatever, and that is, a paraphrasing sort of propaganda piece that you will run into. There's no doubt about it. And there are people who think, well, they're more creative or they're more artistic or whatever after the usage of marijuana. And, to be honest with you, I don't think there's any truth to that at all. There are a lot of people who are actually more irritable when they've either smoked marijuana or afterwards, or they've not had it, which is an addiction. And not only that, like you have many artists who are able to paint like beautiful pictures and things like that. They don't need the marijuana to do that. They're already capable of doing that. I mean, that would be like you if anyone smoked marijuana, they could draw Picasso, and it's just like, no, they can't. A painter could do that, but they could do that with or without the marijuana anyway. They're not more creative with that stuff. And I I I shouldn't prefer that things be associated with certain things. Like, I mean, historically wise, marijuana has always, been associated with hippies. Well, at least since the 60s anyway. And I don't like stereotypes of any kind, even though I don't care for hippies and I don't care for marijuana smokers. I'm just saying it just projects an image that may or may not be accurate. Um, because, but people have simple minds and they don't understand that, that's not exactly the way it always is. And um, yeah, that was what it was like back in the 60s anyway. Was that predominantly the marijuana smokers were hippies. And I don't like hippies, actually, to be honest with you. A bit like Eric Cartman in that regard. Um, yeah, it's just I know there are university students learning about this, as well as educated people. And the thing is, they figure that, oh, they went to university or whatever. And a lot of these people that go to places like that to learn, they spend a lot of money doing it, spend a lot of their time learning about it, and they just don't want to accept that what they learned was wrong. And there's too many people defending marijuana when there's no justification for it. Um, I honestly wouldn't even be surprised if it didn't have any cancer preventative qualities to it. Um, that's a distinct possibility. And some people go, oh, well, there's not that much money to be made in marijuana. But as a government institution, uh, the people responsible for growing our food as well, trust me, they know how to do it as efficiently as possible. And, you have to factor in with the fact that inflation is accelerating under Justin Trudeau's government. Uh, may have been happening anyway if anyone else was in charge, but it most certainly is accelerating under a Justin Trudeau government. I have noticed, and I'm sure a lot of other people have. And the thing is, that's going to affect marijuana prices as well for people who wish to purchase it from the government. And they say now that whatever price is going to be is what it's going to be. I haven't heard any outrage or anything like that on the internet from people going, oh, it's going to be too expensive or whatever. I haven't heard of any of that stuff because I don't really look into it. As you well know, quite often when I talk about a controversial subject, I only spend 5 minutes doing research because that's my style. That's how I do it. Anyway, um, yeah. the thing is, eventually that will start to increase because of inflation, and you know, it also it it's also a propaganda piece to make Justin Trudeau look like a better prime minister than he actually is. I mean, a lot of people don't want to look at him as anything but benevolent, because he's got a kind, caring personality on the screen in front of the podium. But a lot of politicians are nasty people, and I was wearing a Donald Trump shirt the other day, and immediately the women in one of the places I go to buy stuff, they go, "Oh, we gotta have a talk about that shirt," in a jokingly way, and I was just like, "Oh, yeah, I don't see what the issue is here. I don't understand." Um, and quite often I've talked about Donald Trump or whatever in different situations and context, and I've had women especially like talk about how they do not like him and all this sort of stuff, and they have the most ignorant opinions. Like everyone, they think because they say something that therefore it has to be believed. Uh, it doesn't have to be if you're not convincing about it. I mean, like you take Obama for example. Obama, everyone was saying how elegant a speaker he was. He was dignified, yada 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 about the guy, and that was the last president we truly had. And I'm like, well, those are very kind words. He destroyed Libya and a pile of other Middle Eastern countries. So shut up. Um, okay. So, getting back to Justin Trudeau and how much of a hypocrite he really is. Um, I don't sense a thing of honesty about the man. A lot of people can put on the porcelain mask and pretend to be friendly, and really be nasty people in their head. And I think that is what Justin Trudeau is. Um, he can pull on the nice guy, but he's also a hard ass. And, I guess that's what this country needs at this time. But, don't be fooled because he's pleasant on the television. And any gift he's given, such as the legalization of marijuana, is not a gift. It's them making more money. And not only that, they're also going to want to, well, they're messing around with marijuana on a genetic level as well, because that's just how it is. Big Pharma has definitely, put their big nose into the marijuana movement because they see potential in it, and there's just too much money to be made from it, and you know, that aspect is what people have to understand. And I totally understand it that you can't have gangbangers or things like that. They can't be the ones in charge of growing it because obviously they're not to be trusted, and the government is sort of trustworthy, which is better than not being trustworthy at all. Um, yeah, so it's better to somewhat trust something than not to trust it at all. Uh, yeah, I mean, I have no inclination. I mean, I've griped about things in the past, particularly in regards to alcohol, and I wouldn't want them to start tinkering around with that. They probably already have, but Um, you know, that's more my thing. I prefer alcoholic beverages. I mean, with my ancestry, we've been drinking alcoholic beverages for well over 1,000 years, so we're a lot more used to it than marijuana. And the thing is, like, marijuana isn't even the same thing as it was back in the 60s. Um, I mean, my dad had run-ins with people in, London way back in the day in the 60s, in regards to marijuana. He wasn't into it, but, as I said, it's hard to go through life and not run into somebody who smokes it and things like that. And, it looked like a bunch of junk. And to me, it still looks like a bunch of junk. And even anyone being anywhere near me who smells like it, I start to feel sick, just like physically ill when I'm anywhere near marijuana. And I have seen people who have, they have kind of like a, what would you call it, a panic attack or something after they've smoked marijuana. And it's just like, no, that doesn't ever happen when I drink alcohol. I mean, even if I drink a lot of alcohol, what happens is I, start watching TV and then all of a sudden I'm asleep. That's what happens. But there, is a negative image of alcohol because of, the history of alcohol and things like that. And that's why some people go, well, we have every right to say marijuana is good and blah, 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 blah. I disagree. I do not agree with them. Um, and as a free country, I believe I'm allowed to express my disagreement with these people. Um, so anyway, it is a mixed bag. Um, there are aspects about the legalization of marijuana that are beneficial. Um, but on the whole, the reasoning behind it was not for the benefit of people. It was to make a lot of money for the government. That is the reality. And I'm not particularly invested in this particular subject, but I did want to make a video stating some things about it, uh, debunking the cancer prevention myth. Plenty of things out there are way better at it. Blueberries, prime example, pecans, dark chocolate, even strawberries and raspberries. Although I like blueberries better. I think they have less sugar in it. They taste like they have less sugar in them, to me. Anyway, um, so that I think that's hogwash. I don't entirely believe that. Um, some people feel they're more creative when they smoke marijuana. Humbly disagree with that too. Um, some people think that, oh, it's all, people being friendly and things like that when they've been smoking marijuana. No, that's not true. It can cause outbursts of anger and other bad things, other bad behavioral traits. So, I mean, an ignorant person would not understand that. They'd think it's all, I don't even know, comparison. Well, just like smiles and sunshine and, Woodstock or whatever, even though they hardly know what Woodstock is. Um, yeah, so those are myths that are not only told on the internet as truths, but exaggerated, amplified, and they're just not accurate. And like, I don't see what all the fuss is about. It's like it's a load of junk. Um, I mean, yeah, I don't know, but that's somebody else's deal. Um, hmm. Yeah. Well, anyway, I guess that's basically all I have to say about it. Um, you know, well, yeah, that's it. So I guess I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one.